So what if I told you that you're probably sitting on a pile of cash that you forgot about? And in this video, we're going to go on a little treasure hunt to try and get that money back. And this is not about any sort of side hustle that's going to make you, hundreds of thousands of dollars or anything like that. This is money that has been lost that we're just going to try to recover this money. And there's some small, simple checks that you can do to find this money. And I promise you that one of these things at least will apply to you. And for me personally, they all apply to me. So the first one is actually a big one, and that's unclaimed property. So state governments are hanging on to a lot of money that is just sitting there waiting for the rightful owner to come in, basically put a claim on it. So you might ask yourself, what is this money? Well, this money could be a lot of different things, right? It could be, security deposits that were owed to you, but you didn't get it back because you moved and they didn't have your address to send that money back to you. It could be refunds from canceled services or utilities. It could be an old paycheck that a company owes you, and again, they can't find you. So they are required to turn this money over to the state. And there's other examples of, when companies may owe you money and they have to end up turning it over to the state. I'm just mentioning a couple of examples right here. So there are two main websites that you want to check. The first one is missingmoney.com, right? And you want to go in, put your first name, last name, and the states that you lived in, and you want to run a search to see if it pops up with any unclaimed property that you're owed. Like I said, it could potentially be, an old paycheck, a security deposit, a refund or anything. And you want to see if anything pops up for you in the states that you lived in. And then the next website is unclaimed.org. And the difference is that the missingmoney.com is a multi-state database, right? But not every state participates in missingmoney.com. So you have unclaimed.org, which links to each state's, unclaimed property database. So you go in, do the same search, right? You want to search for, your first name, last name, and you want to see if you have any unclaimed property that's owed to you. I actually did this and found that I was owed $100. It was like basically $50 each. And it looks like it was for some previously canceled services or something. And I guess I was owed a refund, and, maybe I moved at that time. And now, I'm owed this money. I'm going to make a claim for it and get my money. And the links to these two sites are in the description. So go get your money. So next up, let's look at the money that's quietly slipping out of your bank account, and it's doing it quietly, month by month by month, right? And that is forgotten subscriptions. And I am a victim of this as well. Studies show that people spend thousands of dollars each year on unused subscriptions. And in a lot of cases, they just forget about the subscriptions. And the subscription model, right? The whole industry that uses this whole subscription model, they basically understand this, right? And the whole model is based on you forgetting about the subscription, because they make it difficult for you to cancel, for one. And they don't put the language, where it's clear on how you can cancel. And then when you do try to cancel, they also will nag you to death about giving you some sort of benefit. And then you'll forget about it again. And then they'll just keep milking you for that subscription every month. And it's just quietly taking money out of your bank account, and you're losing money. With that being said, it's time for a subscription audit. So the first thing you want to do with your subscription audit is, man, you want to pull your bank statement. You want to look at your bank statement for probably the last, 3 months or so. That's probably a good enough window. And you want to look for things like, Apple services or Google services or anything like that, because sometimes those type of things can hide certain little subscriptions and stuff like that. And you just want to look and see if there's any, common recurring, cost or payments or anything across those 3 months. And that probably signals that, there's some sort of subscription, basis going on right there. So you want to take a look at that and see if that's something that you're, still using. And if it's not, you want to whack that. The second thing you want to do is that you want to search your email inbox. You want to look for things like payment reminder or your receipt or payment confirmation or subscription renewal. You want to do searches on those keywords to see if there is some subscription that's getting, auto repaid, and you're just not conscious of it. And again, you want to look at it. If it's something that you are not using, or you haven't used, in the past 6 months or a year, then you probably just want to cancel that subscription and get rid of it and save that money. I recently just did this audit, and I caught 2 subscriptions that I was paying for that I did not need anymore. One was a old website that, I haven't been using in the past year. So bam, canceling that. And then the other one was a warranty or something service for, I think I had gotten like the washer repaired or something, and it was cheaper if I just got the warranty, and then I was going to cancel it, forgot about it, and boom, there you go. So now I canceled that, and they were like $40 and the other one was $50. So that's monthly. So basically I'm saving $100 a month. I'm saving over $1,000 a year just on canceling just those two subscriptions. And I'm going to do a deeper audit to see if I can find other things that are, on subscription basis and, they're on an auto pay. And I'm just basically losing money and throwing that away. Now, the third stop on this little treasure hunt that we're on is refunds, rebates, rewards that you've earned, but you've never collected. So let's start with tax refunds, right? Every year, the IRS reports millions of dollars in refunds that are not collected. That's because somebody probably, changed addresses and, they didn't update it. And basically the IRS is just holding on to your money. So you probably want to go check with the IRS to see if you have a refund. And you also, if you're a younger person, right, you want to make sure that you are actually doing a tax, return, because sometimes, younger people are thinking that, man, I'm not going to get any refund, so I'm not going to do a tax return. And they may be owed some money. This happened with my daughter. She didn't do a tax return, but she had worked, during college, and she didn't file a return. And one time I said, look, just send me your information and I'm going to do a return for you. And when I did it, she was owed like, $100. So that was just money that she didn't get to collect. But now, because of me, she was able to collect. So the next thing on the list is reward points, right? If you have like one of those cashback, reward cards or something like that, then you might have cash that, you're not even taking advantage of. Because I have a personal credit card, we have a household credit card, and I have a business credit card. And for my personal card, I try to use it for everything that I'm purchasing so that I can collect the reward points. And then on the household, we try to pay everything, with that credit card as well to take advantage of the points. And then with my business credit card, I take advantage of, all of the just operations type stuff. But also, I started doing more of, I buy the materials for, rehabbing houses and stuff. And then I just pay for the labor from the contractor. Whereas before, I used to have them include everything, the material and labor in their price. And then I just wrote a check for it. But with this, new way of doing it, right, I'm able to collect more points. And, a lot of times, man, I'll just be going and going and going. And I don't ever even look at the points and think about it. And then all of a sudden, they will just cut a check and release it to me, and I get an email saying, hey, your rewards check is on the way. And man, it might be, $1,000. And each year I'm able to collect about, $3,000 to $4,000 in these reward points. And it's not something that, that's at the top of my mind, but, this is just cash that's sitting there that I'm able to take advantage of. And sometimes I'm just missing that opportunity. And then we come to gift cards. I am the worst at this, right? We all get gift cards, throughout the year. And, we may use that gift card, but you probably forget, how much you have on the gift card. You probably, like me, I throw it in a bowl or in a drawer and, never to be seen again for the next year. And there is a lot of hidden money, man, that people have that is sitting on gift cards. And if you probably went through it, all of your gift cards and went in and checked to see how much money you have on it, you might find that you have, a few $100s that you haven't used, and you can go out and take advantage of that. Because like I said, I am horrible at this. I carried around a Academy gift card that my wife got me for my birthday for like almost 2 years and had forgotten about it. Had $100 on it. And then there was a Visa gift card that I think I had swapped out with one of my kids. They wanted me to send them the money and they would give me the gift card. And of course, man, this gift card was in my wallet for 3 years. Again, just money that's just like sitting there. And then we had went on a trip, me and my wife, and we had came back from London, and I had exchanged the pounds for for US dollars, and they put it on this gift card. And man, I, just basically forgot about the gift card. And then one day I saw the gift card sitting there, and I ended up just giving it to my wife and letting her spend the money on it. So, but again, there is like money that is just sitting around waiting for you to spend. So far on this little treasure hunt, right, we've been talking about things that are more digital, right? But now it's time for us to get physical. I'm talking physical like Olivia Newton-John physical, right? And we're going to find some cash that's in your house, or maybe that's in your car. And if you're like me, you hide money different places because, you think you're being smart, right? Because having some extra cash on hand, to me, is a smart thing, right? But obviously, when you forget about the cash or forget where you put it, that's obviously a dumb thing. And unfortunately, I've let this happen too many times, right? Because sometimes you are going to put money, like me, for example, right? I'm going to put money in like my owner's manual, right? In my car. And this is like emergency cash in case something happens. It's usually, it may be, $60, $80, right? And man, as time goes on, I forget about that cash. And that has happened plenty of times where I just forgot about it. And I also keep money like in my center console, right? And this is usually if I, break a bill or something, and I'm back basically running back to the car, and then I'll just like dump it in this little console. And then I started putting it in like a little Ziploc bag because it was kind of piling up, right? And then I took the Ziploc bag one day and I put it in, I guess you would say it's like my bug out bag that, my wife, made for me. And I thought I put it in the bug out bag, but turns out I forgot what bag I basically put it in that was in my trunk. So again, forgot about it. And that was basically just, money that, I'm not being able to use, right? And then the final thing is that I have a bowl in my office, right? And I would, again, when I have, loose bills in my pocket, at the end of the day, I throw them in that bowl. And then, as it starts to accumulate, sometimes I'll say, man, I may need this money for, like a little emergency or something. And I'll, put it somewhere, right? And sometimes, I'll put it in my desk drawer. And again, I'll go off, man, and just forget about what drawer I put it in. I think I put $100 once in like a fake Bible and forgot about it. And I still haven't even checked that Bible to see if it's still in there. But again, these are all things that you can do, just basically go think about it, right? Search, your house, your office, your car. And I guarantee you that you are going to find some cash that you stashed away thinking that you were being smart and, I'm going to hide this money for an emergency, or I'm going to hide this money for whatever reason, right? Sometimes, I might hide money from my kids because they think that, my bowl of money is like a slush fund or something, right? So these are things that sometimes, as you get a little older, we forget about what we do and where we put things. And definitely, I am a victim of that. So there you have it. We have concluded this treasure hunt. I hope you found it fruitful. I hope you got something out of it because, man, if you go and do all of these steps, you're probably going to come up with some cash. And, for some people, it's going to be, a significant amount of cash. And then for some people, it's going to be, a small amount. But every little bit of extra money that you find is going to be helpful because, man, you could use it to cover a bill. You could use it to pay off debt. You could use it to invest. You could do so many things that are much more positive than, the money just being lost, right? And who doesn't like finding extra cash? That's always a good thing, right? But that is all I have for you in this video. If you took something of value, please like, share with your friends, your family. And in the meantime, you take care of yourself and be safe out here in these social media streets.